Come look with open eyes. Do we know what we've become? Look at where we started from.
Hello everyone, this is Donnie, aka Elevated with Dota Alchemy. And today's video is going to be why every game that you've ever played that you feel is hard because you're making it hard. And that might sound like a little bit of a ridiculous statement, but I just encourage you to hear me out and think about this, and then let me know in the comment section below whether you agree or disagree with the things that I'm talking about, or whether you've experienced them in your own gameplay. This idea came to me this morning as I was walking around. I take my dogs to the park in the morning pretty early, just because I like the quietness in the morning, and it helps me kind of like wake up and get ready for my day. As I was walking, I was noticing that I was really like sore. I play baseball on the weekends, and so I was sore. I was experiencing a lot of different sort of discomforts, and then on top of that, I was also thinking about like the 20 or 30 things that I need to get done today because of, running a company and making content and putting content out there for you guys to watch. And so every day I wake up, and one of the first things that I do is like, how much stuff do I have to do today? Oh my God, that's a lot of stuff. Oh, and I'm sore and I'm hurting. And I realized as I was walking around, and I was doing a little bit of stretching while I was walking, kind of active stretching, and just listening to a book on Audible. And I was just kind of I made a point of not checking my phone and not looking at how many people were asking me for various types of content or for help, or whether there are any bugs with the site, who's flaming me on Twitter or, commenting in a nice way on Twitter. And so I just made a point of not doing any of this. And as I was walking and kind of chilling out this morning, I noticed that a lot of my pains went away. I stretched out the sore muscles, and I just kind of focused on the story that I was listening to. And as I was doing that, I noticed that the worries and all of the noise of the things that I have to get done today kind of faded away. And it was a relief. I felt relieved that I was not thinking about 40 different things at the same time. And that experience then kind of led to the thought of, this is the experience that I have in a hard game of Dota. Let's say that I got countered in lane, then I made some mistakes, and then my teammates made some mistakes, and suddenly the game feels really, really hard. And during that experience of a hard game, it can feel like there are a million different things stacked on top of each other that you have to overcome. It's not just one hurdle, it's a million hurdles. And we actually made a video on this earlier on the YouTube channel, talking about how to approach a hard game. So this is not going to be talking about that. I want to talk about the actual experience of a hard game and highlight the other side of that, because I think a lot of us get into these games, we get into these hard games, and we kind of just give up. We give into that experience of this is a hard game. And so what I wanted to talk about then is that when you are having a hard game, when there's lots of mistakes to make, you tend to focus on those. You tend to make those mistakes. If you think about it, you're in the lane and you miss a CS, and then 30 or 40 seconds later you miss another CS, and then you miss another one because you missed that last one and it kind of threw off your rhythm or it frustrated you, and suddenly you've missed 3 CS in the last 3 or 4 minutes, and you're going to remember those 3 or 4 CS that you missed. What you're not going to remember is all of the last hits that you did get. You're not going to congratulate yourself on every single last hit that you got. But why not? It's because you expect those things out of yourself, right? You expect yourself to get those last hits. You expect yourself to be the best player in the game. And that's fine. But that expectation can go too far. And I think for a lot of people, it does go too far. And it goes to the point where you are only looking at the negative things. So every time you miss a CS or make a mistake, or your team makes a mistake, you remember that, but you don't remember any of the good things that you did. And you likely don't remember any of the good things that you did in previous games because you're so focused on the results of your actions in this current game, in this current moment. And that leads to fear, because when you make mistakes, it doesn't feel good. When you lose games, it doesn't feel good. And that leads to fear. You become afraid of having that experience. You become afraid of the pain, for lack of a better word, because it hurts. Losing doesn't feel good. And so you become afraid of that pain. You become afraid of that frustration, of the anger, the sadness, the apathy that you might be feeling after you lose a game, or even after you lose a fight. And that's the thing, is once you've lost a game and you've experienced that dissatisfaction with the result, then you will start to feel the steps, the incremental steps to that result. And this is natural. This is not something that you should necessarily feel bad about experiencing. This is part of being a human. This is part of who we evolve to be. We do not like fear. We do not like pain. We do not like suffering. And so we try to avoid those things. And as a result, we tend to break down the process of experiencing that pain and suffering, and we try to eliminate it. This is what we do. This is what we do with diseases. This is what we do with injuries. This is what we do with anything that causes us psychological pain. We try to break those down and get rid of it. And as a result, you tend to focus on those negative instances that caused you pain over the long course of the experience. So, how did I lose this game? I lost it because this team fight was bad, my itemization was bad, and my team took a fight when we shouldn't have been fighting, and everybody died, and they pushed racks off of it. And there was nothing I could do because I told my team, I don't have my BKB, I don't have my ultimate because we just used it 45 seconds ago to win a fight. I don't have it for another 60 seconds. Please don't fight. And then your team fights, they die, the game ends. So now you're looking at each one of these little instances. Okay, this item was wrong, so I'll correct that item next game. And then the next game you play, when you have the choice between a couple of items, you start to think about it. Wait, is this the item I should be buying? Should I buy this one instead? I don't know what item I should buy. I'm not going to buy anything for now. And then you die, you get ganked because you didn't buy anything, and suddenly your 10,000 net worth hero has 4,000 unreliable gold that you're not spending on anything because you're not sure what item to buy, and you don't want to make the mistake that you made the previous game and buy the wrong item and lose the game. And now this game is your fault too. And then you're like, well, if I just had both items, then the problem wouldn't have happened. So it was my CS that was the problem, or is my team not making enough space for me to farm that was the problem. So then the next game that you play, every single CS is emotional. You double clutch, you use the stop key to stop your animation over and over and over, and then you miss it because the last second you think, wait, is this the right time? And then your team doesn't seem to be making space, and suddenly you're angry at your team. Oh no, it's happening again. I'm about to lose this game. The same circumstances are happening again. And now every single part of the game is played with the fear of loss, with the fear of the pain of losing. You know what happens? You lose that game too. And now you're sitting there and you've lost 4 games in a row And you don't know whether you know how to play Dota. You don't know whether you should ever play Dota again because you've never felt this bad in your life. And then you queue for another game because you want to win those games back. You want to prove to yourself more than anything else that you know what you're doing, that you know how to win these games. But at the moment, do you know? You don't know. You've just lost 5 games in a row. You're doubting everything you know about the game because you're viewing everything you know about the game with the results of your actions in mind. And moreover, you're viewing everything you know about the game with a negative result of your action in mind. So essentially, you're just paralyzing yourself. You're paralyzing yourself because instead of thinking about, all right, I'm going to get this CS, you're thinking about, if I miss this CS, then I might miss the next one, and then I won't have the items in time, and then my team won't be strong enough, and then we can't fight them, and then we lose map control, and then we lose towers, and then we lose objectives, and then we lose the game. And that entire process is going on before you try to get the CS. And Dota is a game that happens in microseconds. There are heroes with 0 cast point. There are animations that are 0.2 seconds long. There are attack animations that are 0.2 seconds long. You don't have time to think about every possible outcome. You only have time to experience this second in the game and do your best to do this second in the game correctly. And if you can do that, there's a very good chance that your muscle memory, that your intuition about when is the exact right second to do this will be correct because you have played thousands of games and done this action thousands of times. And you have trained yourself to do this action correctly. But when you doubt the outcome of your actions, when you add 0.2, 0.3, even 0.1 milliseconds of extra decision making onto something that you have tuned to be perfectly in time over the course of thousands of games, suddenly your entire rhythm is off. Suddenly your entire decision making and action is off. And as a result, you make mistakes. You get more fearful of making those mistakes. You continue to make those mistakes over and over and over again. And as a result, you continue to experience the pain of losing, for which all of this decision making and doubt and self-criticism and anger and frustration is attempting to avoid. Thanks for listening, everyone. Good luck. More importantly, have some fun and go win that MMR.